All right, welcome back to Valhalla Games, everybody. So today we have got the ever-inspiring and amazing Rex. Say g'day, Rex.
Is that some other Rex that you know of?
Nah, it's you, man. It's you. Just,
Okay, all right. I'm here.
just
Hi,
take it.
podcast land.
And you met also joined by me, Dan. And in the recording booth with me today, I have my dog, my German Shepherd, Jaeger, who hopefully isn't going to woof and make an appearance on this on this podcast, but you never know because he is having a bit of a playful, energetic day. Say hi, Jaeger. Say hi. No, so Jaeger's my nibble woofer. So hopefully he's not going to roll a six today, and I don't know, drop his ball on my laptop, which is literally on my lap. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, and like all those indirect weapons, if he does roll a six, it's all going to go horribly, horribly bad.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It might be recording in 27 parts.
All right, all right. So before we get into our main topic of the day, I want to just say that this book is sponsored by. You ready for it? No, I've let the cat out of the bag, Dan. I've done a Freudian slip.
Oh, it's
This
a Freudian
podcast,
slip.
yeah, this podcast is sponsored by the Battle for Primisol Bridge PDF version, which is now released. I think we maybe kind of buried that in the end of the last podcast, but I just want to let you know that that is up and running. So if you ever had any interest in the Battle for Primisol Bridge and what we did, our labour of our love for all those years when we were working on the book. We've still got a few printed versions there, but the PDF version is now live. So for those of you who don't like to give Australia Post a horrendous amount of money for walking it to you, you can buy it at valhallagames.net/store, or just go valhallagames.net and click on the store button. And I just wanted to say that the book is for the completely and absolutely reasonable price, PDF version of 35 Australian dollars, which I've conveniently converted for you at, this is probably not what you're going to get through PayPalConversion.com, but anyway, 22 US, 21 euro, and 18 pounds. So, if you're interested in buying the book, you should buy it, valhallagames.net/store. If you're not interested in buying the book, but you've enjoyed our podcast and you want to tip us 35 Australian dollars and we'll send you a free PDF. How does that sound, Dan?
That sounds great. And thanks for the hard work getting that onto PDF so people could get it, Rex. I know it's been really popular at the moment. I think in fact, not one, the only thing we were disappointed about during the book's release, the physical book's release, was the postage rates and how they just skyrocketed just at the time before we got the book out to people in its physical format. And it was really disappointing that some people just couldn't bear to part with that much money in postage, as well as the physical book, and we completely understand. We were disappointed by how the prices around the world rocketed upwards for post. So this is a great opportunity for people to get the PDF, print it out at home, or put it on your tablet, or whatever the case is. Take it to your game night with your mates, and play the Battle for Primisol Bridge.
If you're anything like me, Dan, with the Valhalla Games campaign books, I've got the physical book, and most times I've also got the PDF because PDFs are great for searching in. And in some cases, I've even bought the audiobook as well. Not the audiobook, the ebook, which allows me to play it back as if it was an audiobook on my ebook reader. So, yeah, I may have somewhat overspent on campaign books. So even if you've got the physical book, you can always get the PDF as well, which is great for that late night planning session.
How generous of us to offer to people they could buy a second copy. Thanks, Rex.
Well, I think that's completely reasonable. We're not planning to release an ebook version, but if you really want to buy 3 copies, well, I guess we could probably do that. Not quite sure how, but Yeah, let's not promise that. I'm pretty sure that's not coming.
No, that's great, Rex, and it is a real thing. We've actually had some people who purchased both copies for that reason. So, yeah, thanks very much again for getting it out in that format, Rex, being the IT guy. And yeah, if you want it, there's where to get it, team.
Great stuff. All right, so what's this episode about, Dan?
Oh, Rex, it is that time of the year. In fact, it's past that time of the year. So back in, I think it was a bit of a later one. So late January, start of February, we did a podcast sort of about last year, how last year went for us hobby-wise, and what our goals were for this year in the hobby. And it's time. It's past due, in fact, that we caught our listeners up with our progress on that, and just a bit of a hobby catch-up in general. What do you think, Rex?
I have unfortunately lost all reference to those things that I had promised.
Are you lying?
Yes.
I heard that lots of people have got out there and got those promises out there in audio format, Rex, and podcast format, mate.
It's done now. The word's out. But yes, those famous things. It's been interesting. I don't know if you've ever done a year's hobby challenge before. I never have. Normally I just get most stuff finished to about 90% and then just leave it at that. But yeah, doing a year's worth of hobby planning was quite interesting. In a few different ways. In one way, theoretically, it means that I can't just jump about from one thing to the other, but in another way, it means that I can't just jump around from one thing to another. Like so that, you know, both are pluses and both are minuses. Yeah. But so how do you want to do it, Dan? Do you want to just state what insane promises we made first, and then go through it individually, or do you want to do yours and then your results, so that we can closely check you against what you promised?
That second reason that was behind that option sounds like a really good one. So maybe if we separate the promises from the actual results year to date, then then we'll be slightly detached, one stage detached from them, almost like a politician.
Yeah, and I'll edit in a 30-second pause so that people have forgotten what we promised by the time we talk about it. But anyway, you go, Dan. What brave and insane promises did you make for this year's hobby? Bear in mind, so I just want to preface this by saying that it is week 37 of a 52-week year. So there are still a number of weeks left. So that's about two-thirds, three-quarters of the way through. So there is no reason that you can't have everything completed by the end of the year still. But if you want sleep, maybe that could be a problem.
Yeah. I like the way you said you're going to put in a 30-second break there. To be honest, if we're going to detach ourselves results year to date from our original goals, I think you'd need to put in Stairway to Heaven, Free Bird by Lynyrd Skynyrd, Child in Time by Deep Purple, and yeah, I think those there might just give people enough time to forget them compared to how we're doing so far.
So that's all very funny, right? But I have a feeling that you might be conspicuously on target. So let's hear it.
All right. Well, for a start, I went back and I actually listened to my hobby goals, and it's there in audio podcast evidential format. And I actually realised I committed to something big, but I was actually got away with a number. The only number I put on anything was I said I was having a big infantry year, and I wanted to paint 100 British Airborne. That's the only figure I put. 100 British Airborne. However, I did always also say that I had 100 German Grenadiers. So that's the second one. So those are the only two numbers. Then I said I bought like a second hand, or actually swapped second hand for a bunch of Japanese, and I had them sitting there. So that's 200 miniatures, right, Rex? 200 German Grenadiers and 100 German Grenadiers and 100 British Airborne. Do we agree on that?
I'm listening to Jaeger in the background jangling something.
He's just scratching. Good boy.
Okay.
Good boy. Just
Good boy, Jager.
just scratch away there,
Yes.
Jaeger.
200. I concur.
Okay. So I have painted. Do you want to know how many German Grenadiers I've painted?
Yes.
0.
Yep. Okay. All right. Good.
Okay. Do you want to know how many British Airborne I've painted?
Yeah. Bearing in mind that you haven't received your Arnhem Kickstarter yet, but yes, go on.
83 finished so far.
83.
Yep, 83.
That is a lot, actually. Still, for units that have got quite a detailed and time-consuming camo on them.
Yep. So I'll give you the full results year to date, and then I'm going to give you what's painted or painting work in progress, and then I'll tell you what's sort of otherwise on the conveyor belt. In other words, assembled, ready to paint. Shall I?
Yep.
Whew. Right, here we go. So, painted year to date and finished. 34 Soviet naval infantry. 12.
They went on your list, but I'll still credit you those.
Yep. 12 Winter Soviets. 28 Panzerlehr.
Okay.
72 British Airborne. Wrong. 72 British Infantry. Oh, that's
On top of the airborne you just talked about.
Yep. British Airborne 6-pounder. 83 British Airborne, as I said, including a couple of weapons teams. 2 British Airborne Locust light tanks. And that is it for finished. Do you want to know what's work in progress?
Yep. Tell me.
Okay. 16 plastic deck. So those were assembled, obviously, and now sort of in the painting progress stage. And I've got 33 metals, and those metals are dinged up metals that had sort of been painted by somebody when I bought them second hand. So they're repaints.
DAC as well.
Yep, also DAC.
Yep.
I got another 17 British Airborne on my painting tray as we speak, which will take me up to 100 when they're done and they're half finished.
Yep.
I've got another 24 Panzerlehr on my paint tray as well.
Crikey.
I got 2 British Airborne Jeeps and 1 British Airborne Polston gun on there.
Yikes.
Now,
that is a lot.
Assembled.
So what is that total?
Oh, hang on. I'm not
Okay,
there
so you're
yet.
still going. All right, yes, go on.
Assembled. Okay, so here's where I digress from the actual results for a minute. Okay, so assembled, I decided that I was going to spend some time assembling some plastics. Now, obviously, that's part of the first stages, but I've actually had the last couple of weeks off due to having a minor knee surgery, some keyhole surgery on my knee, and I could have finished the stuff that was on my paint tray, or I had the option of assembling some plastics. And what I decided is I was going to assemble some plastics because quite often on a night shift at work, or if I go away on a course, which is coming up again soon, I can take stuff to paint because it will all fit in my Gorilla Painter fast attack bag that I take with me. Yep. But assembling is a different story. I prefer to assemble at home because it's actually, like, you have loads of stuff. You have full sprues of stuff in there. You have your bits box and everything, don't you, Rex?
Yeah, and you got bits cut up and lying all over the place that you need to splice together, and you can't really move that around easily. So
yeah, I'm a real kit basher. So I decided to invest some time in assembling rather than painting at the moment during this 2 weeks. Thanks to my future wife, who's got the patience for saint, as I've literally had like a blooming neck-high pile out in our table in the conservatory. So assembled, I got 6 Warlord Alpini, the new plastics out by Warlord.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I have got 200 plastic and metal IJA, so Imperial Japanese Army. Most of those are plastic, but there's also metal that I've been obviously scraping, preparing, putting them onto bases and everything. So 200 of those.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Wow, that's insane. How much have you got those done? Are they done or are they in progress?
so they're all assembled and scraped off, prepared, everything. Just haven't even been undercoated yet, so they're done though.
Wow, that's an incredible number.
And so far, I have got 100 Soviets, of which about 40 plastic Soviets are yet to have heads and webbing put on them. So just the heads and web equipment. Apart from that, they got everything else is scraped off, ready to go. So I've been scraping as I go on. So such big volume, man. It was a heartbreaking to go back and do 80 plastic Imperial Japanese in one go, I can tell you. So I didn't do that again. I just did it as I went because it's slower.
Yep.
But yes, morale purposes, it seems like you're ahead.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it's about 120 of those bad boys ready to go. So what, 320? It's about 340 miniatures I've put together in the last couple of weeks, or almost completed the assembly of in the last couple of weeks.
Wow, that's incredible. So you're happy with your results then?
Yeah, the one thing I'm not happy with is the Grenadiers, German Grenadiers, and that I've made zero progress on them. I painted a lot of Panzerlehr at the start of this year, and I just went off the boil painting field grey, I guess. But I received such nice sculpts of Panzerlehr from Artisan that a couple of squads of those, plus a few extra miniatures, character miniatures from elsewhere, other sculptors, Steve Barber models, and a few other places, and that sort of reinvigorated me on the sort of Panzerlehr side of things to get some of those done. But I still intend on revisiting some German Grenadiers and maybe getting about 30 of those finished before the end of this year. But I think in reality, I'm probably not going to get the whole lot finished. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, well, as well as that, we've got these this Kickstarter, as we mentioned, the Arnhem Kickstarter coming in metal. So that'll divert your attention to some degree, I guess. They're really nice sculpts. So yeah, that'll be something new to be a spanner in your works, but a pleasant spanner.
Yeah. Well, another reason why I started doing the assembly was, of course, I had the time, so I took the time. But also what happened is I got another wall unit, bookshelf, in my Wargames room. And so with the addition of that, which took up a little bit of space on sort of other cabinets that I had stuff shoved into and under and boxes and stuff like that, just something had to go. You add another shelf, so I've suddenly got room to display models, but now I have less space to store models before they're assembled. So the solution to that was, to me, quite obvious, which is put stuff together, put it on the display shelves where it belongs eventually, and yeah, get it painted. But obviously it sort of breaks what I'd like to do, which is have stuff painted only on display. But I mean, I routinely go away from that anyway. I mean, we've seen the whole around my Wargames room in 30 days or 80 days sort of challenge I've done last year, which is I've deliberately put stuff out and assembled stuff that was unpainted on my shelves, and routinely I do it just to inspire myself to get it done.
Well, that is outstanding, Dan. That is a fantastic amount of stuff. As you mentioned before, you've had a weird year in terms of your work stuff and that. So that's allowed you to get ahead on a few fronts. But I know most of it's just purely that you're dedicated, and when you when the rest of us are scrolling through Facebook, watching YouTube shorts and otherwise just wasting our lives away, you're there beavering away painting. So well done. You should be rightly proud of that effort. So good job.
Oh, thank you for making me feel better. There's 100 German Grenadiers that cry. Look at me with 200 accusing eyes every time I walk in and out of my War Games room.
Yeah, we haven't painted the eyes yet, so they're just plastic right now.
Okay, just 200 field grey faces. Sorry, 100 field grey faces with 200 field grey eye sockets.
Yeah. Yeah, they only become live when you paint the eyes. So anybody who doesn't paint the eyes, you're missing out, because you miss that opportunity of the guys looking at you accusingly, saying, "Well, it's all very well you've washed me, and maybe you've done the first highlight, but what about my second highlight?"
Well, just to clarify, it's not okay and all very well that you washed me if it's a plastic miniature Rex. That's a you thing.
No, I mean washed after the first coat and after the base coat and after you painted the eyes.
Well, you know, those thousands of eyes, the knight have 10,000 eyes, so that's, you know, you're going to be sleeping in my War Games room when you come over for the wedding, right?
Yeah.
The table's going to get put to one
actually.
side, and we're going to get an inflatable bed in there, and yeah, you're going to be sleeping in there with like 10,000 eyes looking at you.
That'll be nice. Yeah, instead of 10,000 unopened boxes of sprues, which is what you get in my place. But which is a good segue onto what I've done. But is there anything else you wanted to add? Like I just, you know, I don't really want to ask that question. But is there anything else you wanted to add to that list? Comments?
Nah, we might
have done.
We might talk about some other stuff at the end before once you've wrapped up yours.
Yeah, right. It won't take long. So I, on the other hand, have had a very busy year so far with work. I've been absolutely smashed with work and earning income, paying down the mortgage, which has been really good to get done. You know, in the real world.
Yeah, good on you.
So hobby has had to suffer a little bit this year, just because, you know, make hay while the sun shines and all that. So. But yeah, week 37, I too went back to check on what I did. I did mine up in a sort of a graphical format, which you can find occasionally at valhallagames.net blog. So I've just got sort of indicators there for the week count and all the other things that I promised that I would do. So things that I promised that I would do, no, they're not promises, are they? They're goals. It's like when I tell my kids, no, it's not a promise, it's a plan.
Because plans change, but promises don't.
Plans change. So, yeah. And now my kids, every time they see someone on TV that says, "I promise you," they say, "Dad, what do we say about promises?" So I may have ruined my kids for the rest of their life about promises. But anyway, I digress. Okay, so my goals are sort of varied and weird. Not only painting, but hobby goals in general, I guess. One of my goals was to do 52 games of bolt action a year, just conveniently one a week, just to pick a number. So because I want to get better at actually playing the game. You know, I love my hobby, and you know, I can paint stuff, and I can you know, I can make nice terrain. But you know, I could improve on my competitiveness in gaming. Let's just leave it at that. Second thing was a new Waffen SS army, 28mm army for bolt action. So that was raw plastic, and I wanted to have that finished by the end of the year. Now, I know a year to paint an army probably sounds ridiculous, but I knew it was going to be a busy year. I got lots of other stuff going on, and it's autumn cam. So, yeah, enough said there. Paint the 28mm Fantasy Men army, so for other games that I play. Partly painted, wanted to have it finished by the end of the year because I seriously owe those guys some painted armies. And then two more. One was 3 tables of terrain for the 80th anniversary of Plimsoll Bridge event that we held in Sydney. And that was insane. That was just mental. But yep, to get that done. And then the last one was I wanted to come and improve my competitiveness. Don't laugh, but I wanted to come in the top half of the placings at my New South Wales premier wargaming event, which is Moab, held in Sydney in October this year. So obviously you can't measure me on that one yet.
Those are good smart goals, though. It is measurable. We shall see.
Yeah. So all right. So shall I hit you with the results?
Yes, go for it.
Okay. So bearing in mind that I am going to Moab in a month and a half or something, and I'm going to be playing 5 games over 2 days, which will lift my score a bit. So far, 52 games of bolt action over... I guess 37 games of bolt action is what I should have done at this point, right? So it's 37 weeks into the year.
Yep.
I have done 15. So...
Well, that's 15 more than some people.
Yeah, so that's a lot more than I probably paid last year. I am playing. I played this week. I'm playing on Saturday. I'm playing on Tuesday, and I'm playing on Tuesday week. Those are guaranteed locked-in games. So yeah, and then 5 games in October. So I'm getting up there. But the thing is that I've challenged myself. I've done more than I've done before. But I'm in a wargaming kind of trio with 2 other guys, and you know, they don't necessarily, they enjoy bolt action, but they enjoy other stuff as well. So we had a good bash at bolt action last year. So this year I'm having to pay pixies and what have you. And some Saga, actually. That's been really cool. Some Viking action.
Nice.
So yeah, so we've been generally playing once a week, but unfortunately not always bolt action.
But I think, in fairness, so I think if you'd said to yourself at the start of the year that you're playing wargaming over once a week, because you've got, by the end of this year, you'll have played more than once a week with tournament events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, you would have been happy with wargaming once a week, though. It's just gone slightly away from bolt action, but wargaming once a week, getting a game once a week, well done.
Yeah, so I'm really happy with that. I know that you've been doing lots of painting, but you haven't been playing as much as usual. So, yeah, I'm the flip. I've been playing more than I ever have before, but I haven't got a lot of hobby done. So, yep, pluses and minuses. I'm real happy with how that went. All right, so the new Waffen SS Army, I've split that into measurable goals. So planning the painting, working out the color schemes, test models, bases, planning, printing, all that sort of stuff. I'm 90% complete on that. So, you know, a small thing, but that's nearly done. List planning and testing, I'm only about 40% on that. Cleaning up models, assembling, all that, 80% done. So that's, you know, that's pretty much there. So that's good. Scraping everything and all that, which is one of my less favorite jobs. But painting the vehicles, I have done 0. And painting minis, I have done out of the entire army, and we're talking about, I don't know, 2,500 point army. I have done 1 model.
Well, hey, it's a start.
Yeah.
You know what I find? I find that, you know, why bother working up percentages? 0% and 100% are really good numbers. So 0 is pretty good. 0 is pretty definable. 1 is even better. So
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I've put that on the back burner while I've had other things going on. Doing lots and lots of terrain, some fantasy terrain, and other bits and pieces got pulled away onto that. The 80th anniversary stuff, that was that was a lot. So I haven't got that done. I haven't done anything on the fantasy army either. So really, in terms of painting miniatures this year, I haven't really achieved almost anything. I have to paint up 1 squad for Moab, just do a few finishing off bits and touching up. So, as I said, I'm playing bolt action at Moab this year in October. So I know I said I was going, but yes, it's bolt action. Of all the choices of choice game systems that could be, it has to be bolt action. So yeah, haven't done a lot of that, but I have done all of that terrain printing and painting and designing and modeling up that we've talked about in previous podcasts for the 80th anniversary. So I've got a really good supply of Mediterranean terrain now, which was mostly yours for all the book photos, and I didn't really have a lot, but now I have a good supply of it as well. So yeah, that's great to have that covered.
I'm glad you went back and expanded on that more. For maybe some people who haven't caught the 80th anniversary game day you had, and if you haven't, please go back a couple of podcast episodes and listen to that, because your goals really they were heavily towards terrain, and you are nailing them. Like, you did loads for that event. Like,
an incredible amount.
Yeah, you did loads for that event, and everyone was very complimentary on it, and it looked amazing, Rex. And so
to quite a high standard as well, which is one thing to print something out and paint it, but it's another thing to try and do it to a high standard for you. I mean, obviously, different people have different abilities and different standards, but yeah, to do something that you're happy with, I think is a big step.
So that's a huge, mate, you're nailing your goals. I mean, sure, you've sort of maybe had a bit of a false start on your Wolfen SS and stuff like that, but that's just the way that it is. Like, overall, your hobby goals are coming along nicely.
Yeah, and then there is one other thing that I've done is which probably as good a time as any to discuss it now, is that I've been unsatisfied with my terrain boards and mats and stuff since the end of the big Primasol Bridge push of 2022.
Yep.
Which for those of you who might be tuning in new, we did the book, obviously, which we've talked about already, but we've to support the book, Dan painted the most amazing miniatures, all different armies, because that's one of the advantages of that campaign, is it's got lots and lots of different armies from lots of different nationalities, and fantastic stuff.
And Rex did the most amazing terrain, and which included a realistic Primasol Bridge board, realistic to scale and stuff like that, which also had removable sections in the middle, so it could collapse into more of a wargameable sort of scenario for different war games, and that was also vital for the book. And Rex, it was amazing.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it. I was really happy with it. Or still am. It's still in storage. And did you see on Facebook or YouTube something the other day, Dan? A guy posted, I'm not sure if you saw it, that he said, I went to Sicily and I went to Primasol Bridge just last year, and your terrain was right on.
Yeah, I thought that was really nice of him to say that, and I was stoked for you, Rex.
Yeah, so that was really nice. But having those those reeds alongside the river, and the realistic looking water, and the fully sculpted terrain, no flat battle mats here, thank you, but the fully sculpted terrain, and the custom made trees, and the bridge that was printed out, hundreds of hours of printing for the bridge and that, and then to go back to a flat game mat on the table with a few GW toilet roll trees. I've been pretty unsatisfied for the last little while. So we both have the same mat. We have a fantastic long grassed gaming mat. You've got a few of the mouse mat style gaming mats.
Yep, I do. Yep.
I had one, but it disintegrated, fell to bits, and I sent it back for a warranty claim. But I've just bought another couple of vinyl ones and a cigar box mat, and yeah, they're okay and they're all right, but it wasn't really doing it for me. So this is the point that I'm coming to in this very long and roundabout story, is that one of the hobby things that I've done in the last little while that wasn't on my list, because it was bothering me so much, is I created my own terrain mat, like every other YouTuber that's out there. You have to, once you've been in YouTube for a couple of years, you have to do your own terrain mat, video it, and put it up. Is it a rite of passage for terrain makers? Yeah. There's that, and there's a couple of others as well. Making your own roads, and yeah. So you've seen the videos of that, Dan, and I was very happy with how that went. So in short, a YouTube video will be coming, but in short, it's a painter's drop sheet, like a heavy canvas painter's drop sheet, with special acrylic filler. I managed to finally find an acrylic filler that I like the texture of, that's very, very flexible, went on thin, looks good, was able to be colored, which you can't with silicone so much. And then, the flocks, the Woodland Scenics flocks that I used. Actually, now that I think back, Dan, based on our discussion, while I was doing it, is that I've actually followed the exact recipe that is in the hobby section of the Primsol Bridge book for the flocking.
We always knew that it was good, accurate, and sound plan that we were suggesting to people, mate.
Yeah. Maybe we should have read that when I was agonising over what flock to use. But anyway, long story short, I've got a really, really nice battle mat now. It worked out absolutely perfectly. Videos coming, and that allows me now to put on my my various terrain pieces and the little diorama pieces that are at least exist in my mind, that have exactly the same flock, exactly the same colouring, exactly the same everything else, and I should be able to build up a really nice, not sculpted terrain, but with some sculpted pieces on top. I should be able to come close to that sculpted terrain without all the issues that are involved in actually having sculpted terrain, like storage and cost and non-modularity and everything. So that was a huge step forward, and that was only really completed in the last week and a half. So that was another thing that I added into that as well. I also spent quite a bit of time, a couple of months there, working on the perfect solution for so FDM 3D printing striations drive me nuts. I've been looking for the perfect solution to get rid of those, and we've been through a few iterations, haven't we, Dan?
Yeah, we have. It's a constant quest. It's a quest for the Holy Grail.
Yeah, and I actually thought I had it, and I've just been dissatisfied with that as well. So the amount of time I've put into that, I'm reluctant to start printing terrain, to try to print terrain in a resin printer, just for the cost as much as anything. I mean, if you could guarantee you were going to get every piece out perfectly, then that would be fine. But you've only got to have a couple of failures, and there's $100 worth of resin, essentially for one terrain piece. So I don't think that's the way of the future. But I do have a plan.
Oh, okay, what's the plan?
Let me see if it's actually going to pan out first, and we'll go from there.
Oh, you just dangled that there. You're just like, okay then, all right.
Well, I've had a few plans along the way, and I think some of those have been a little bit false startery-ish. So, yeah, let's just see how that goes.
Okay, all right. I'm intrigued, and I'm looking forward. Like, I suppose, majority of people who listened to that and then felt that it had been dangled in front of us, and then whipped away before we could seize it.
Yeah. So, in summary, I haven't painted a lot of miniatures. I painted a few of the amazing Soviet naval infantry, 28mm naval infantry from the Black Death Kickstarter. So shout out to that one. I assume they'll be available somewhere else at some point soon. And then
yep. So just to add to that. So yes, Stefan has given us his link to his part as a vendor on Wargaming 3D, I do believe it is. So we'll be adding that to a video that someone on this podcast may have recorded.
And someone on this podcast hasn't got around to actually editing yet. Yes, I know the one.
I was about to say, and someone on this podcast is going to graciously do it into editing it. So yeah, so you shot yourself down before I could build you up there, Rex.
Yep. So we did that. I've done some of those. I've done a few. I've got maybe, I don't know, 8 Waffen SS 3/4 done or something. So that that's a good start. I've painted a few test models on my main army.
No, you were underselling yourself, Rex. You've done much more.
Yeah, but 90% doesn't count, Dan.
Okay. All right.
But I played a lot of games. I had a lot of fun, and I've done a lot of terrain building and a lot of personal time investment in 3D printing tech. But yeah, also I just wanted to mention too. I talked about the Arnhem Heroes Kickstarter before. We didn't actually say who it was from or any details about it. So if you're tuning in and you haven't heard us salivating about that seriously in the last little while. It is by Empress Miniatures, and the Kickstarter page is up there. Presumably, there's some links to to buying the models individually once they've fulfilled the Kickstarter. Paul Hicks, I believe, is the sculptor. Is that right, Dan?
That's right, yeah. And I think, from what I can gather, Empress have said that they're deliberately not going to put it out straight away for sale on their site. They really, I believe, Paul Eagleston from Empress and Paul Hicks are both believers that they've come to the conclusion that, if you're backing a Kickstarter, you should really feel like you've got it before anyone else is available to get it, because you've helped pay for that range to bring it to life. So I think it might be a year or so before it even goes onto their site now.
Well, there you go. You should have bought in, people, when you had the chance.
Yeah, yeah.
Dan and I did. Like, I got eye-wateringly expensive amount of stuff, but I got my notification that it's shipped. Have you got your notification that it's shipped, Dan?
Oh, don't mention the war. So, Paul was on the Battle Bunker HQ podcast live with them, and he said that they were trying to do the guys and gals who lived furthest away first, because then everyone sort of get theirs fulfilled sort of around the same time. And you told me yours had shipped, and you sent me the confirmation, and I was like, you beep, because I haven't heard anything yet. I haven't heard anything yet, and to be honest, I would feel bad about bugging them, because they've done such an exceptional job of keeping us notified and being well ahead of their schedule, that for me to see them an email going, hey, my brother got notifications sent, and you said you were going to send overseas people, so where's my stuff? A month and a half before they sort of committed to it being sent out is, I think, a little bit churlish. So I'll just wait.
You're going to resist.
I'll just wait and get mine when I get it. But maybe it's just because mine's a bigger package.
Yeah. Could I have 3 of everything, please? Is pretty much what you just put down.
Nah,
and just take my money. I'm going to open my wallet. How much is it? You don't do that. You don't need to do that now, because lots of things are electronic, and in Europe we have the euro. But I remember going to Europe, and there was a couple of girls there, tourists in front of us in the line, and the woman opened up her wallet and she said, "How much is it?" She just offered it, and the guy just reaches in and grabs like a whole bunch of lira or something, because nobody had any idea what anything was. 35,000 lira for a Big Mac. Thank you very much.
It's just classic. You just let the Egyptian bazaar stall keeper take what he thinks it's worth out of your wallet.
Yeah. So that's a classic. At least with euros now, I mean, no matter where you come from, you can kind of go, 100 euros probably does seem a lot for a piece of something on bread.
So euros are like lira, yeah? It's roughly what?
Yeah. Yes.
So like it's thousands for a Coke?
Yeah. But yes, I think that's what you did, is you just said, can I have something of everyone to the street vendor? And you just opened up your wallet and said, just take whatever you think is appropriate.
Yeah, I think so. I got the big. Well, I can't even remember what the peaches are called, but I think I got one that was called like the Big Kahuna Burger or something like that. And then when they added to it, you could do the after pledge. You could add to your pledge. I think I said, do you mind if I have some of your tasty beverage to wash this Big Kahuna Burger down? And so I ordered more, and got like another bunch of dudes.
Yeah, I've been shopping with you before, Dan. I know what you're like.
It's,
all right, so that was it. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, are we talking about Kickstarters, or do you want you wrap up and then we'll talk about some other Kickstarters that are going on out there that we've have finished that we're pretty excited about. So you finish off, Rex.
Yeah. So that was it. So I've had a great year so far. Still a lot to go. Still loads of bold action to play, because that's my main game. Been playing Saga. Been playing one-page rules. A lot of one-page rules stuff.
Nice.
And that's been really great. And just buying everything on the planet for future, just in case I get broke in the future and I don't have any money. So it won't matter, because I'll have a good couple of years worth of buying up my sleeve. So I mean, you got to think ahead, be prepared. I was was in the Scouts. So that's my hobby. So all in all, are you happy with your hobby progress so far? And I probably don't really need to ask that question, Dan.
I'm a little bit unsatisfied. I'm happy I've done loads, but I'm a little bit unsatisfied because but I'm going to be satisfied by the end of this year. I demand satisfaction.
Well, I thank you for your opinion. However, you are wrong.
Okay. All right.
You've done amazingly well, and I'm real happy with my stuff as well. So,
You should be.
That's our hobby challenge update for September. Not too many months to go now for the end of the year, but it's going to be a big finish. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, I better get myself busy because I'm going away probably on a couple of courses with the army, and then I'm coming back, and then I'm going to get married, and then I've got a week off after I get married to catch up with people like my brother coming over from Australia, and then after that we've got a couple of weeks left of work, and then I head to the UK and Ireland and Norway and France to go on our honeymoon. So yeah, so I better, time is slipping away, believe it or not, isn't it?
Yeah, well, maybe I'm going to creep ahead of you then. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm going to get 300 miniatures finished between now and the end of the year, and I'll be ahead.
If I see a Waffen SS finished, completed army painted up on Australian and New Zealand bolt action buy and sell, and it gets snapped up really quickly, I'm going to be immensely suspicious of you, Rex.
Yeah, yeah, you should be. Yeah. All right, so even though I jumped the gun somewhat and talked about Kickstarters and purchases and stuff, should we go into that, because it seems like a natural segue?
Yeah, let's do that. So let's start off with what's come and gone, and we're pretty excited about in regards to receiving it. So first of all, Stefan from the Black Death, Soviet Naval Infantry, World War II, from Flank March Images. So Stefan has been adding up files there for us backers, and that stuff's amazing. We've talked about it already, so I just wanted to say, because I know Stefan's a listener, the stuff is great, mate, and yeah, we'll have that video out soon for people who have just started printing theirs off, and hopefully it'll help you paint it up.
Yeah, and watch out for that, because I've painted some stuff and I thought my stuff looked pretty good, but then I saw yours, Dan, with those pea coats.
Yeah, thank you. There's a few layers of black and black grey, I can tell you.
Yeah, they are really, really nice. Some of the nicest black painting I've seen for forever. So I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't even looked at the video. You sent them to me, and they're sitting on my hard drive, but I haven't even looked at it yet. So I'm looking forward to it. So that'll be a good impetus to get it done and online.
Well, I'd like to think I've done all right, Rex, but I'm no Chris Hindmarsh, because you know who Chris Hindmarsh is, don't you?
Well, I do know who Chris Hindmarsh is. Yes, I do. Which leads us on to probably a good segue into the next thing. But should we do the Chris Hindmarsh segment first?
Well, let's just in brief. He's a Chris Hindmarsh Painting Services. He's a guy lives in New Zealand. Amazing painting, and his work has been his finished work has been, I guess, showcased on two Kickstarters recently. The first one that is finished that I backed was the RKX Miniatures Operation Plunder. So Canadians in Operation Plunder, and his work painting it, but also the work of the sculpting on that was fantastic, wasn't it?
Oh, really nice, really nice. Yeah, the sculpting is really great, and so looking forward to seeing the miniatures. But so these are STLs, by the way, in case you're wondering. Not physical miniatures, but STLs that you can download and print out yourself.
Yeah, although RKX do physical ones as well, but I don't know when. I mean, this Kickstarter was for STLs. I don't know when or if, in this case, they will add physical product to their website. They certainly have before in the past in their Hurtgen Forest Kickstarter, and yeah, it's always been great when they have done it. So perhaps they'll do it in physical form as well.
Yeah, and the stuff is really nice. I'm actually just trying to pull up some images here. So as we speak, I should have been a little bit better prepared. But at the end of the day, they're really, really nice. But the painting by Chris is really it's really next level, isn't it? It's just,
Yeah, it is. It's fantastic.
I mean, we've talked about display painting before, and I think, as I recall, your quote was, "The insanity that is display painting."
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure, whether Chris, whether he would consider that to a high standard of really tabletop stuff, or whether it really is display painting where you're talking about spending, a couple of months or a month painting 8 miniatures purely for a Kickstarter, which puts it outside the realm of what most people would consider reasonable as a wargamer. It sort of transcends that normal kind of usage, but the stuff is amazing. It is inspiring. I've yet to actually really look at it and break it down to actually see what he has done. But not only, and this is particularly interests me, not only is it really great painting, but clearly he's a keen photographer as well.
Yeah, the photos are beautiful, aren't they?
The photos are beautiful. They're lit in a certain way that draws attention to the photos. There's no messy backgrounds and tipped over bottles and half painted paintbrushes and messy.
Oh, come on, Rex! I'll try. I'll try harder next time in the background of my videos.
What you would get with me, but yes. So he's really showcased it well.
Yeah, he is.
And so. But yes, so that was a great Kickstarter,
and he's also worked on another one, which Rex, you've backed. So we took turns at backing them because they're going at the same time. Tell us about that one.
Well, before we move on, we should see if we can get him on the podcast, maybe.
Yeah, we should. We should.
Just a casual chat, not too heavy. We won't we won't put him on the spot and get him to train us how to be painters. Just have a.
All right. Well, why don't we do that? No promises, but we'll look into it and see if we can for the future.
Yep, sounds good. So that was that Kickstarter, and he painted again, without going over and over it, another images for another Kickstarter, which is The Last Charge, and this one's particularly dear to my heart because it's Waffen SS Winter Cavalry, mostly cavalry, and that one is I'm not going to try his last name, but Propylene is his first name. And so he's a nice guy. I've spoken to him by email before, but an amazing sculptor.
Oh, he is, yeah.
Like his miniatures are really great, and he's got a Wargaming 3D account as well. And he's run previous Kickstarters as well, which I've bought into. Winter Fins Transport, which was really amazing. But this one is kind of, he's had a couple of goes at it. In terms of Kickstarters, the little ones dabbling. This one is a full-on one. So again, STL files, but the cavalry, the horses are
they're beautiful, aren't they?
Just beautiful. And because of his sculpting, it did really, really well. And he just had to keep adding stretch goal after stretch goal after stretch goal. And he sent in a message saying, "Oh, there's quite a bit of stuff in here now. I think we're probably talking about Q1 of 2024 before I get those last stretch goals done."
Yeah.
But I don't care because it's just amazing stuff. So
it was great because it started off as the cavalry, and then it just elevated to a new plane of existence, which was cavalry, and then all the support stuff to go with it as well. I think it even went into vehicles and stuff at the end. I think there was a log burn fuel, like a wood fueled truck, I think was one of the last things to get added, wasn't it?
Yeah. Along with a Pack 40 and some tank riders and it was crazy. But this wood fueled truck, I sent you a screenshot of it, didn't I? Because I never ever heard of a thing before. And if you haven't seen it, I'll try and describe it. So it's a truck, like a 1940s truck, like any other truck, but sort of where the fuel tank would go on a modern truck, just directly behind the cab. Sometimes you'll see like essentially a barrel on its side on a big truck. This thing has a vertical furnace, like what you would, I don't know what they have in other countries, but what we would have in Australia and New Zealand is a hot water heating thing about, 16, 1800 high, something like that.
Yeah, yep.
6 foot high. And it's a furnace that you put wood in. And I have no idea how it works. And it's on my list of things to do to go and research how a wood-fired truck actually works. Like, how does that generate? Presumably it's not steam, but how does burning wood generate impetus? I don't know.
Her doctor, Doc Emmett Brown, must have travelled back from the future, and I don't know, maybe it's an Opel Blitz with a flux capacitor in it. It's got like a wood-fueled thing in it or something.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, as you said, Dan, when I sent it to you, you said every day is school day.
Yeah, every day is a school day.
So yeah, really looking forward to getting those miniatures. I've tried a few Waffen SS cavalry in my bolt action army in the last couple of months, just with some proxies in there. I think I need to learn how to use them a bit better. But yeah, in terms of looks, amazing.
My dog's getting excited in the background. His mum's home. I think he can hear her.
All right, go Jaeger, go and seek and destroy. No, that's wrong.
What? No,
with a name like Jaeger, come on.
Yeah, we're not encouraging that. We're encouraging love
Okay.
and mung beans.
All right. So what else have we bought into and paid and just insanely spent money on the last little while?
Oh, well, I went to our club's annual Bring and Buy sale, the Christchurch War Games Club Bring and Buy sale. Always well organised by Tony Ormandy, and yeah, that was great as always. A little bit less historical this year. In fact, I would liken it a wee bit to the Bring in, like in sort of percentages of historical and fantasy and science fiction. And that probably like the sort of quantities or percentages at Moab last year.
All right, okay.
So not as much historical as maybe other years, but what there was really good quality, and yeah, and picked up some a couple of oases with palms on it, and sold a whole bunch of stuff that I'm not going to be using again, Infinity stuff and some 40k stuff and just bits and pieces, to be honest. But it's quite funny how those bits and pieces always add up at a Bring and Buy, like all the stuff that you think no one would really be interested in, and it just goes and goes and goes. And at the end of the day, I walked away with a few bob for stuff I didn't want. I've had some more room in my War Games room, helped me fit in that set of shelves I got for my birthday from my lovely wife to be, and yeah, walked away with a couple of oases, desert oases, a couple of palm trees around them, some nice blue-green water. It's all good.
Very nice, yeah.
And how about you,
well,
Rex?
We've also both bought the latest Warlord campaign book, which is Tough Gut. It's the second book in Italy, so I think we've both got both books now, and neither of us have done very much with them at all. But I'm looking forward to a time when I'm actually going to be able to play right through those campaigns. I noticed the first scenario in that new book, Tough Gut, is 14 turns long.
Yeah. Well, in the interest of disclosure, I would like to thank Valhalla Games for sending us a copy of that. Because we're in two places, I guess I'm fortunate enough to receive that copy this time, and you've bought one over there, and in the future we'll probably have to change that around, so you get a go too. But we'll be looking into that book soon, and we're going to take a bit of a different spin on it. We won't reveal it now, but I think there's been plenty out there about new units and stuff like that, and yeah, we'll have a bit of a different spin to it.
Yeah, sounds good. So yeah, thank you very much, Warlord Games. So I think we've increased our standing with Warlord Games in the last little while, and they may be wanting to work with us a little bit more. So that's fantastic, because we get to have a look at some toys, and which means we'll be able to bring it to you in the form of podcasts and chats on the podcast, and also probably more importantly YouTube videos. So we'll just have to see how that pans out, but we're pretty excited by that.
Absolutely. Right, Rex, what else have we got in this roundup, or are we coming to the end of this one? Is it for once? Could it be a shorter one?
The roundup, you mean like the podcast roundup, or what have I bought roundup?
Well,
because I can tell you that's not short.
I was Well, what else have you got to tell our good listeners?
So I managed to get the last. So I got that book, as I just said. So I got the last Wojtek the Bear, the special edition miniature that came with the book in Australia. So I'm really happy with that. I wasn't particularly fussed about it because I can't see myself necessarily playing an army that's going to feature the bear. But he was at Monte Cassino, and if you read the backstory in the campaign book, or you know the history of it, carrying ammo crates up the Monte Cassino, which is a very rugged thing. So he would carry an ammo crate that normally took 4 men to carry. So that was a really nice story. So I'm glad I got the bear. We also got the special edition miniatures, Dan. For you haven't even seen it yet. It's in the box right alongside me for Operation Critical Hit campaign, the Warlord campaign, which we didn't take part in, just not enough time. But we managed to scoop up some of the...
Speak for yourself. I have taken part in it.
Oh, have you really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're a dark horse, Dan.
I've only got one game logged in there. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we got the... you haven't told me about that. I'll be waiting for the details of that game.
Oh, well, it's a bit of a weird one because I didn't know where to put it down. So technically we weren't on any of the maps. We went to... we were playing late war Soviets versus Japanese. I played Max here at home, and he was playing Soviets, and I was playing Japanese as the Soviets marched into Manchukuo and took that terrain back. I was on there. I was like, well, where do I log this? Is it Eastern Front? Is it the Pacific or something like that? So yeah, I think I just threw it into a result in a hex in the Eastern Front.
Right. Okay. And so yeah, I bought us a couple of the Red Cap Royal Military Police campaign figures, one for each of us. So that'll be nice. I'll post yours over to you.
Oh, awesome! Thanks, Rex.
And so yeah, that was great. So I bought quite a bit of stuff in the last little while. Haven't had much of a chance to play with it, but coming soon to a table near you. I'll be looking forward to getting some stuff on the table.
Good. Well, I'm sure in the future we'll find a purpose for the red coat. The red cap, I should say. Red coat. Goodness, he's not at Pontins holiday resorts over in England. But the red cap. All right, well, I guess that finishes our hobby catch-up. It also finishes with what we've been lucky enough to invest a few shekels in for the future. Rex, you've told us about how you're looking forward to getting to Moab, and I know in the future we'll talk more about that preparation as it gets closer, and probably another instalment as it passes. Have we got anything else to add tonight?
No, that's about it, really. Just to say that, I'm just so excited about what's going on in the world around us in terms of wargaming and miniatures and everything. It's just so much like drinking from a fire hydrant. There's just so much to do, and I need to retire. Not from wargaming, from working, so that I can spend 8 hours a day playing and painting and whatever else.
Yeah, get through that pile of shame. All right then, Rex. Well, I've certainly spoken way too much probably on the few things that I've done. So look forward to the end of the year. We won't give maybe too much of our progress as we get on now, but I'm looking forward to coming back at the end of the year and letting people know how we finished up. But on that note, maybe we should wrap up tonight.
All right, that sounds great. Good to talk to you, Dan. Good to catch up. Good to vent what we've been up to. And I will talk to you in a podcast coming real soon.
Yep. Speak to you soon. Stay classy, Casino.
Yep. Stay classy, little plastic guys with no eyes.
Good night, everyone.
See you later.
Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. Cheerio.